So yeah, I want to be able to talk to other people that are that have gone through it and all that. I really want to make a impact in a lot of people's lives. Also, um, like other things that happened when I was young. I remember this guy at the apartment complex. I was in like third grade, and he was like flashing me his freaking middle part and stuff. And man, it was just a bunch of crazy stuff. And grew up struggling. I mean, when my dad was alive, he would always take us out of like vacations. We would go to Mexico and see our family over there and stuff. And it's like he kind of kept the family together. And now, like, my mom goes places with her husband, and I'm not saying like whatever, all her kids are grown, but it's like he's met my uncle from my grandma Rose's side, and I haven't even met him yet. And like my mom goes to Florida and stuff with him, and I'm like, God, like she doesn't ever like, oh, let's have a family trip, you know? It's whatever. I mean, like I said, she's my mom. Only got one, and I love her. I love her so much. It hurts that like when I was younger we were so close, and now I don't even call her on the daily. We have an okay relationship, but at one point it was pretty bad. It was really bad. But anyway, so after the relationship that with my son, the one that I was like really bad in, I felt bad because like, he'd deal with my shit, and then he'd be like, okay, I'm done. And then of course it would make it worse that he would go and tell his mom and like all his friends and stuff. So like he'd be so upset, and he'd go tell everybody, and then he'd be like dumping me off at my mom's with my children and his son with all our stuff out in the yard. And then the next day we'd be talking on the phone, and we'd want to be back together because we loved each other. And then I'd go back, but then there'd be issues with his mom, and she'd be like, why are you back with her, and I can't blame her either. And I actually had issues with her too, and we had actually got into a physical altercation at one point. But like I said, I talked to her now, and I told her like I never hated her. And I do see now that she was just trying to protect her son, and her son was the one putting her in the mix. So I mean, can't blame her, So anyway, I got in contact with this guy I dated when I was like 12 years old, and then we like lost contact for years. Anyway, so I left my son's dad, and we moved to the Valley. I moved with this guy, my middle school sweetheart, I guess. But moving away from everybody. And the guy, I ended up finding out that he smoked crack. I would have never thought that. But moving away from everybody and getting with someone who had an addiction is what truly changed me. And like, my two older boys, their dad, I've been with him since I was with him when I was like 13, up until I was like 17, 18. And we had two kids, and I had my first son young. But he had a kid with this girl, and I actually hooked them up when I was, I was around 23. And it was messed up because like I never wanted anything with him. Like, yeah, we had two kids together, but like we were best friends when we were young, and then we dated, and we were together for like 6 years. And I was the best girlfriend to him, but man, he cheated on me all the time. I was always at home with the kids. He never did nothing for the kids, nothing at all. But we were young. I always ended up being cool with him again, and I never ever kept my boys from him. He never helped financially, but I was like, just be a dad. I mean, but he was in and out of their lives, and they're barely trying to connect with him again. But anyway, he had got this girl pregnant that I went to school with, and so did he. And I hooked them up, like I said. It was like 23. Man, she had the baby. I used to babysit their baby behind my back when I was at my peak of being so terrible, pillhead, stupid idiot girl. I had got with this guy, and mind you, me and my youngest boy's dad, the one that I screwed up so much, we were broken up, but not, it was still fresh. Like, you know, he was pissed that I got with this guy, this white guy. So then I go to Mardi Gras and I took pictures of me taking like acid and being stupid, but I didn't have the kids with me. When I would, like, my sister had the kids, you know? So if I would have had the kids with me, I would have understood, but I didn't, and I just went out and partied. But she was like, oh, you should let the boys come stay with me because, look, you're partying, and I was like, okay, and I started crying. I was like, well, yeah, maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I do need help. Okay, help, keep an eye on my kids. She just said, like, call CPS behind my back. And I was like, what the heck? You know, I didn't even expect that. And she was having my boys try to call her mom. And it was messed up because, like, my kids were crying for me. You know, like, I was their everything. They didn't have nobody else but me. So then we ended up having to go to a meeting. And I remember she was, like, telling them everything that I, like, had done. Like, bad stuff, man, that I wouldn't want anybody to know. So then... But the ladies saw right through it. They were like, we're not trying to bash the mom. We're trying to help her so that she could, you know, be a good mother to her children, right? Which I was, but my dumb ass put stupid stuff on social media and it backfired on me. But they saw right through her. And I was like, look, I do not want this woman around my kids anymore. I was like, because I'm not going to be able to hold back me fighting her, whooping her ass. And, you know, my mom's like, calm down, Sarah. I was like, nope. So... you know, that's another thing I went through was like being betrayed by people that I thought like, you know, were my friends, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, around that time, that was when I just had to get away. I had to get away. And like I said, getting away and being with someone who was addicted, I saw how he was, and I didn't want that, and I didn't want CPS. I was like, all this dumb stuff that I'm doing, taking pills, drinking, going out, like not putting my priority, not having my priorities in check. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all of this now, CPS is coming around. I was like, no, like no way. When, you know, when it's something with my kids and just like the fact that these people do have a lot of power and they could take your kids. They'll take the kids if you come out dirty for marijuana before they take a kid for being abused or neglected, you know? So I got my shit together and I was like, I am not taking these pills anymore, and I didn't. And it was very hard living in the valley. I struggled a lot, but I will say one thing. I was working as a waitress. We didn't have a lot of money, but we were happy. Even my kids still bring it up that they miss living in the valley. We were happy there. I love my home city, you know, my hometown city, but I can't. The city life is just too much sometimes. And then it's like everybody knows all your, you know, business and the skeletons in your closet, and it's just like, ugh. So, yeah, let's see, what else? You know, and I just want to say that, like, the way I see it is if I can change my life and I can become a better mother, a better person, just all in all, wake up, and that anybody can. And I really want to help other people out. But if they can relate to this, you know, I really want a lot of people to get into the law of attraction. I really want a lot of people to know their worth. It's don't let the past don't let the past make you. Don't let it like mold you into the person you are. You know, I've been through like horrible stuff, and I mean, to me, it was my worst. It was the worst upbringing. It was a really bad childhood. This was mine. You know, people that have all the money growing up and all this stuff, and their problems might not be that serious to someone like me, but it's serious to them, and because it's theirs. So that's how I see it. I don't judge people on like, oh my God, I've been through this. Like, I've been through worse. No, to each their own, but child abuse and sexual abuse is a serious thing, and I hate that I went through it, but I will make sure that my kids never go through anything I went through. Thankfully, they were not around during a lot of my dumb shit, and they don't really remember, thankfully. So it sucked. And I thought the whole like being abused and all that stuff, like, I thought it was done with when I was younger. But I'm gonna tell you one more situation. It's really messed up. So I was always like sexually molested, but I did get raped once with my sister's boyfriend, or he was just like some friend with benefit guy. But I was on the stupid pills in this situation too. So real quick, I'll tell you about that one. So I was staying with her, and
your cousin?
I was probably,
Yeah, it is. That's my sister. That's my sister.
I think I was,
boyfriend.
yeah, like 22 or something like that, right? Yeah, I was 22. It was, anyway, so this guy, he would always come over and they'd mess around, whatever, but she would like throw him crazy because he would always want to be with her, and she didn't want that. So he was like whipped or whatever. So I was asleep on her couch, and I had taken some Xanax, so I was knocked out, man, like a dead body. So I remember I thought I was dreaming about the guy I was with at the time, that we were like having sex. So then I wake up because I like hear something hit the table. And I look, and it's my sister's boyfriend pulling his shorts up, his boxers up, and running to the room. So then I touched myself down there, and I'm like, what the hell? And I just started bawling, crying, and like I called my boyfriend right away, and I told him what happened. I was like, oh my God, like this guy. And I remember calling my son's dad too and telling him, and he was really pissed. He was like, oh my God, let's find him, da da da. And I remember I got his number, and I was like, I was speaking to him in Spanish. I was like, you know what you did to me? I was like, you freaking raped me, da da da. So I was there crying. Before I had called him. This is the next morning. He was asleep in my sister's room, and I was calling my friends like, please, like, come get me, this is what happened. And they were like, tell your sister. So I was like, all right, I told my sister. My sister's like, it's okay, I'll take care of it. And I'm like, okay. But like, she really didn't make a big deal out of it either. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, if it was the other way around, like, I would have been beating his ass. Like, I would have been getting people to jump him. I would have been calling the cops, something, Why do I not matter to these people, And I'm the little sister. So then, after that, I remember talking to one of my sister's friends, and her friend's like, oh yeah, I heard about that, what happened, whatever. She was like, your sister told me about it, that she was saying, oh, can you believe that she's saying that this happened, da da da. And I'm like, wow, so she didn't believe me. I might have been a dumbass, a pillhead. I might have, cheated, lied, and stole from, exes and stuff. But I would never, ever, ever lie about being raped, especially not by my sister's boyfriend. I would not do that to my sister. Ever. Like, what's wrong with her, And that, like, hurt me because I love my sister. I love her so much. And she didn't believe me. That's just that's more, icing on the cake of how messed up and screwed up a lot of my family is, and I wonder how many people out there too that like their family just don't have their back, especially when it comes to something like this. Like if you've ever been abused or raped or whatever, that shit like feels ugly. I remember it pissed me off. Like this motherfucker really thought that he could take that. Like he could just take that from me, Like, no, this is my body, and it's just, oh, man. And then to, like, have your family not even care. Especially things that happen when you're a little girl. And my niece, she had came to me and told me that, my boyfriend, this, obviously, it's been years, that he was making her feel uncomfortable and that like he was like low-key like I don't know like trying to touch her. I don't know, right? She wasn't clear about it. She was little. But you know what happened? I packed my shit and I told that motherfucker to his face. I was like, you were fucking dead to me. I was like, you don't know how bad I want to beat your ass right now, da da da. And he was like, no, they're lying, your niece is lying, da da da. And I was like, he's like, I love them or whatever. And I was like, so you're saying they're lying? And he's like, yes. I was like, look, even if she's lying, because it was both my niece, but the other one had told me I was like, even if she is lying, I was like, I have to take my niece aside. And that was that. So then I tell my mom, and my mom's like, oh, he just made them feel uncomfortable. Even if that was just it. Don't make my nieces feel uncomfortable. Like, this is my house. This is where they should feel safe. Like, the safest, like I was the only one that showed any type of like care for it, and it's just it's BS, man. And then they wondered why my mom and whoever like in my family was always talking about how screwed up I was, popping pills, da da da. Like they wondered why. Look at all the shit I went through. Look at how they didn't even care. They showed no care that I went through what I went through. But it's like, like I said, I decided to not let that break me, and my kids needed me and they don't have nobody else, and I had to break free from that, and I want to give them the best. Like, I love my babies. So I'm getting really tired, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And the next video, I'm going to try to have someone on with me, talk more about things I went through. Yeah, I'm still dealing with the reputation I had. Sometimes, I still hear things here and there of people just assuming I'm still that girl, and oh, people don't change, da 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 da. But you know what? Let them talk. It's kind of messed up that people would even say that. Like, no matter what someone has done, if they look like they have changed and it's been years, just be nice. Oh, I'm glad they're changed. I'm glad they're getting it together. Or, oh, I hope that she has, or something. Like, why you gotta be like, oh yeah, they're not, or bring up the past. I don't live there anymore. But That's why I have a small circle of friends and I keep to myself, because I think a lot of you know people can smile in your face and then just turn right around and talk a lot of shit about you. Family members do that. Alright guys, well, thanks for listening and watching, and please subscribe and like this video for more content. Bye.